What happens when a 20-year-old billionaire heir films himself laughing at a crying street food vendor after destroying her only source of income? And then that same video gets played back to him on national television in Judge Judy's courtroom. That's exactly what happened to Hunter Vale. He walked into Judge Judy's courtroom like it was a set for his next vlog, not a court of law. 3 million followers on Instagram, 5 million on TikTok. Son of hedge fund legend Gregory Vale, net worth $3.8 billion. Hunter wasn't just rich. He was famous for being rich, and every inch of him showed it. A custom-tailored off-white suit that didn't belong in a courtroom. A diamond-studded Rolex that hit the lights every time he moved his hand. Limited edition sneakers that were sold for more than the average person's monthly rent. The sides of his hair were shaved. The top was styled just messy enough to look effortless. In photos, he wasn't holding legal documents. He was holding his phone, as bailiff Bird called the room to order. Hunter angled his camera up, whispering into it with a grin. "Court trip check," he muttered under his breath, not realizing the microphones picked up everything. About to teach this lady what clout really looks like? That lady was sitting at the plaintiff's table, hands folded so tightly her knuckles were white. Her name was Maria Alvarez, 50 years old, owner of a small, battered but beloved taco truck called Maria's Kikina. She'd built it from nothing. No investors, no trust fund, no viral sponsorships. Just 15 years of waking up at 4:30 a.m., chopping onions until her eyes burned, cooking meat until her back ached, and serving food until midnight outside stadium exits and construction sites. That truck wasn't just a metal box on wheels. It was her mortgage, her kids' tuition, the only thing standing between her family and poverty. 3 weeks before this courtroom showdown, Hunter turned it into content. It was the night of a sold-out concert downtown. Maria had parked her food truck in her usual spot near the arena, the one she'd had permission to use for 7 straight years. The line was already wrapping around the block. The smell of sizzling carne asada and cilantro filled the cool air. At 11:40 p.m., as the crowd thinned, a matte black Mercedes G Wagon rolled into the lot like it owned the place. Music blasted from inside, bass shaking the doors. The front grille alone cost more than Maria's entire truck. Behind the wheel, Hunter Vale, live streaming to tens of thousands of fans. He was laughing, hyped up, talking to the camera instead of watching where he was going. "Yo, check this out," he said, pointing his phone at the window. "Rich kid versus taco truck. Place your bets." With one hand on the steering wheel and the other holding his phone, Hunter tried to swing the 4-ton SUV into a narrow space between Maria's truck and a concrete pillar. He didn't make it. The sound of impact was sickening. Metal shrieked. Glass shattered. Maria's entire truck lurched sideways as the G Wagon's front end slammed into her rear service hatch, crushing the generator and bending the frame like aluminum foil. Inside the truck, Maria was thrown against the counter. Pans crashed to the floor. Hot oil sloshed dangerously close to her hands. Outside, spectators screamed. Phones shot up. People yelled at Hunter to back up, to stop, to check if she was okay. What Hunter did next is what dragged him from annoying rich kid territory into public enemy number 1. He stepped out of his G Wagon, looked at the mangled back of Maria's truck, then at Maria herself as she stumbled out, apron stained, face streaked with sweat and fear, and he laughed. "Relax. Abuela, it's just a dent," he said loudly, knowing full well his live stream was still running. He turned his camera around, framing Maria and the crushed truck behind him. "Yo, chat, look at this thing. How is this even passing inspections?" Maria's eyes filled with tears as she saw the damage. The back door, warped and unusable. The generator, a $6,000 unit she still hadn't finished paying off, completely destroyed. She clutched her head, muttering in Spanish, Dios mío, ¿qué voy a hacer? What am I going to do? Instead of stopping the stream, Hunter moved closer, making sure her sobbing face was in the shot. NPC vendor having a full meltdown over some sheet metal, he said, chuckling. Chat, should I start a GoFundMe for her or just buy the whole parking lot? Comments flooded the stream. Some laughed with him. Many didn't, but Hunter didn't care about the ones telling him to stop. He cared about the ones spamming laughing emojis when Maria begged him, voice shaking for his insurance information. Hunter rolled his eyes. You reversed into me, he lied smoothly. Everyone saw it. Don't try to scam, okay? I'll have my people handle it. His people were his father's lawyers. Within 24 hours, they'd filed an insurance claim stating that Maria had backed her poorly maintained food truck into Hunter's stationary vehicle. They painted her as careless, unlicensed, an opportunist trying to cash in on a wealthy target. They'd done this before. 4 previous accidents. 4 times. They buried everything under NDAs and settlements. Hunter thought this would be number 5, but 2 things he didn't plan on happened. First, the clip of him mocking Maria on his live stream didn't just stay on his channel. Viewers ripped it, re-uploaded it, added subtitles, slowed it down, stitched their own reactions. Within 48 hours, hashtag Taco Truck Tears was trending worldwide for all the wrong reasons. Second, Maria wasn't alone. One of her regular customers, a night shift nurse named Kaija, had a dash cam on her car pointed straight at the truck. It recorded everything. Hunter's speed, the angle of impact, his phone in his hand, and most damning of all, the way he laughed afterward instead of helping. Keisha sent the footage to Maria. Maria sent it to every lawyer she could find. Most wouldn't take the case. They'll bury you in paperwork, they said. You can't go against the veils. They'll drag it out until you're broke. So Maria did something no one expected. She applied to have her case heard on Judge Judy. The producers saw the viral clip, saw the dashcam footage, saw the billionaire's bratty son laughing at a sobbing food truck owner. For them, this wasn't just a case. This was ratings gold. Now, on this Thursday afternoon, Hunter sat at the defendant's table, whispering into his phone as the courtroom filled. He still thought this was content, a storyline, a funny episode where he'd flex his lawyers and walk away. What he didn't know was that Judge Judy had already watched every second of the dashcam footage. She'd seen his live stream. She'd read the hundreds of thousands of comments calling him the new symbol of spoiled rich kids. She'd seen his history of pranks, tipping over a street performer's bucket for laughs, mocking a homeless man's sign on camera, throwing fake eviction notices on working-class houses as a social experiment. And she'd made a decision before he ever set foot in her courtroom. This wasn't going to be another brand collaboration or dramatic vlog. Was going to be the day Hunter Vale's entire online persona detonated in his face, but he didn't know that. Not yet. Right now, he was still smirking, still filming, still convinced that Daddy's billions and a blue checkmark made him untouchable. Before we show you the exact moment Hunter makes the mistake that costs him everything, less than 5% of you watching are actually subscribed. If you believe billionaires' kids shouldn't be able to crush small businesses and laugh it off, hit that subscribe button right now. What you're about to see is one of the most satisfying pieces of courtroom karma ever caught on camera. Bailiff Bird's voice boomed through the room. Case of Alvarez versus Vale. Downtown taco truck incident. All parties come forward. Hunter rolled his eyes, slid his phone into his pocket camera, still secretly recording, and sauntered to the defendant's spot like it was his mark on stage. Maria wheeled a crate of dog-eared files to the plaintiffs. Table receipts, permits, repair estimates, photos. Hidden inside that stack was a simple USB drive on it, the footage that would end the lie Hunter had been telling himself his whole life, that consequences were for other people. Asterisk. The People's Court of Judge Judy is now in session. All rise. Everyone in the courtroom stood, everyone except Hunter. He stayed half-seated, fumbling with his phone, angling it so he could sneak a shot of Judge Judy walking in. The red tally light on his camera app glowed faintly. He was streaming to his close friends list about 400,000 people. Yo, boys, he whispered. We in TV court. Watch this. Judge Judy took one look at him and didn't miss a thing. The slouch. The phone. The half-smirk. Mr. Vale. She snapped before even sitting. You stand when I enter, or you don't sit at all. Put the phone away now. The room froze. Hunter blinked, caught off guard. No one ever talked to him like that. Not teachers, not cops, certainly not waiters or staff. He stood up slowly, exaggerated, like it was some enormous favor. Yeah, my bad, he muttered. Just documenting the experience, Your Honor. Free promo. The last two words dripped with sarcasm. Judge Judy's eyes narrowed. Promo, she repeated. This is not content, Mr. Vale. This is a court of law. Treat it like one. He shrugged, shoving the phone deep into his pocket, still secretly streaming. Judge Judy turned to Maria. Ms. Alvarez, you're the owner of Maria's Kikina? Yes, Your Honor, Maria said, voice steady but soft. For 15 years. We'll get to you in a moment, Judge Judy said gently, then snapped back to the defendant's table. You, sir, state your full name. Hunter Gregory Vale. Age? 20. Occupation? Asterisk, he smirked. Influencer, entrepreneur. A pause. Content creator, I guess? Content creator, Judge Judy repeated flatly. So, you make videos, and people give you money because they like watching you? Be yourself? Pretty much. She made a note. The kind of note that doesn't look like much, but if you know her, you know it means she just mentally filed you under problem. All right, she said. Ms. Alvarez, let's begin with you. In your own words, tell me what happened on the night of March 12th. Maria took a breath that seemed to come from somewhere deep in her chest. She stepped to the witness stand, clutching the edge like it was the only thing keeping her upright. It was a concert night, Your Honor, she began. Those are our biggest nights. I park in the same spot by the arena. I have a permit. She held up a laminated card with shaking hands. I was almost done. Maybe 20 more orders. She described the scene in detail, the late-night crowd, the music echoing from the stadium, the smell of grilled meat and cilantro. Her voice trembled as she mimicked the horrible metal-on-metal crunch when Hunter's G Wagon rammed the back of her truck. I thought we were under attack, she said quietly. The whole truck jumped. Pans fell, oil spilled. I hit my shoulder on the counter. She paused, swallowing hard. When I went outside, she continued, I saw the damage. The generator. Destroyed. The frame bent. I knew right away I could not open the back door again. And Mr. Vale? Judge Judy prompted. What was he doing? Maria's jaw tightened. Laughing, Your Honor. She said it like the word tasted sour. He was laughing. Holding his phone like this, she mimed someone recording, arm extended, and talking to it. To his followers. He pointed at my truck and said it was... How did he say? She searched for the English phrase. A health code violation on wheels. Soft gasps rippled through the gallery. Did he offer you his insurance information? Judge Judy asked. No, Your Honor, I begged him. I told him this truck is how I feed my children. He said, her voice cracked. Tears filled her eyes. He said maybe I should thank him for forcing me to upgrade. Then he drove away. Judge Judy's jaw clenched almost imperceptibly. She turned back to Hunter. Mr. Vale, your version. He rolled his shoulders like this was boring. Yeah, so... With respect, Your Honor, she backed into me, he said. I was parked. I have no reason to lie. That's what happened. The lot was crazy, everyone cutting each other off. I was just sitting there waiting for a spot and she slammed it in reverse. Probably didn't check her mirrors. Maria actually flinched. Judge Judy's eyebrow flicked up. You were stationary? Yes, no phone in your hand. No live stream. Hunter hesitated for just a fraction of a second. Maybe I had my phone, he admitted, but I wasn't distracted. I can multitask. Everybody does. And look, her truck. He gestured dismissively. It was already falling apart. The insurance guy said it was basically totaled before I touched it. He leaned forward slightly, trying a charm smile he'd used on thousands of viewers. With all due respect, Your Honor, this is being blown way out of proportion. She's using it for clout. I'm the name here. That's why we're even on TV, right? The arrogance in that last line hung in the air like a bad smell. From the plaintiff's table, Maria's daughter Anna, 19, in a faded community. College hoodie bowed her head. Cheeks burning. Judge Judy's voice went very calm. Ms. Alvarez, she said, how much was the damage to your truck? Maria took a shaky breath. The estimate from the body shop is $32,000, Your Honor. The frame is bent. The generator and refrigeration are gone. I can't work. I have been closed for 3 weeks. And your income during those weeks? 0, Your Honor. Her hands twisted together. Normally, I make maybe $1,800 a week on busy nights. I owe taxes. I owe on the truck. My son's tuition. Her voice trailed off. Hunter checked his watch. It was a tiny movement. But in that moment, with Maria on the verge of breaking down, that one flick of his wrist screamed louder than any words. It screamed. This is wasting my time. Judge Judy saw it. Of course she did, Mr. Vale, she said softly. Do you feel any responsibility for Ms. Alvarez's current situation? Hunter shrugged. I mean, it sucks, obviously. But accidents happen. It's not my fault she put her entire business model in one rusty truck. That's just bad planning. I didn't tell her to be poor. The last sentence slipped out before he could stop it. You could feel the entire room physically jerk. Even Hunter seemed to realize, a half second too late, that he'd said the quiet part out loud. In the back row, someone muttered, wow. Judge Judy didn't move. For a moment, she was utterly still. Then she reached for a stack of papers on her desk and tapped them into perfect alignment. Mr. Vale, she said, her voice so calm it was almost gentle. You're absolutely certain she backed into you? Yes, Your Honor, he said, doubling down. 100%. I swear. You understand you are under oath. I do. Good. She nodded slowly. Because in about 60 seconds, we're all going to watch exactly what happened. On video, the color drained from Hunter's face. Video? He repeated. Yes, Judge Judy said. Multiple angles, actually. She nodded at Bailiff Bird. Bring in the monitor. Asterisk, the doors at the side of the courtroom opened, and Bird rolled in a large flat-screen monitor on a stand. A tangle of cables trailed behind it like a tail. Hunter's eyes locked on the screen like it was a firing squad. Where did you get video? He asked, voice a little thinner now. Judge Judy didn't look at him. Instead, she turned to Maria. Ms. Alvarez, you submitted footage from a customer's dash cam and from a nearby security camera, correct? Yes, Your Honor. Maria reached into her file box and pulled out a small USB drive in a plastic bag. Her hands shook as she passed it to Bird. "Thank you," Judge Judy said. Bird plugged it in. The monitor flickered to life. "Everyone watch closely," Judge Judy instructed. "No talking." The screen showed a grainy view of the arena parking lot at night, time-stamped 11:40 p.m. in the bottom corner. Maria's truck sat in its usual spot, lit by overhead lamps and the neon glow from the stadium. From the left side of the frame, a black G Wagon roared in, its headlights too bright. Music thumping so loud the camera's tiny microphone crackled. Even without seeing the driver, anyone who'd ever scrolled TikTok recognized the custom license plate, G "That your vehicle, Mr. Vale?" Judge Judy asked without looking away. "Yes," he muttered dot on screen. The SUV didn't sit stationary, as he'd claimed. It jerked forward, reversed, jerked again. The driver was clearly maneuvering for a closer spot, not patiently waiting. Then the camera caught it. The fatal moment, the G Wagon suddenly shot backward at an angle too fast, too sharp, and smashed into the back corner of Maria's truck. The entire frame shook. You could almost feel the impact through the screen. Hunter flinched, even though he already knew what happened. "He was backing up, Your Honor," Maria whispered, voice breaking. "Not me." "Quiet, please," Judge Judy said gently. "Let's keep watching." The SUV stopped, slightly crooked, now pressed against the dented rear of the taco truck. The driver's door opened. Hunter climbed out, phone in hand, live stream still running. The screen blurred for a second as the dash cam tried to refocus on his moving figure. There was no sign of concern on his face. No hint of, "Are you okay?" He was smiling. "Chat, did you see that?" His voice echoed faintly from the dash cam's microphone, distorted but unmistakable. "This thing is done. Look at this Jurassic Park food truck." "Bro," a murmur ran through the courtroom. Judge Judy's lips went thin. On screen, Maria stumbled out of the side door of her truck, clutching her shoulder. She stared in horror at the mangled back end, then put both hands on her head and began to cry. Hunter swung the camera around, catching her full on. The dashcam zoom wasn't perfect, but it was clear enough to dot her tears. His grin, NPC meltdown, his voice drawled from the speaker. "Chat, should I donate or just by the street?" This time, the murmur in the courtroom turned into something sharper. People shifted in their seats, whispers of disgusting and wow hissing through the air. Hunter couldn't meet anyone's eyes. He stared fixedly at the floor. The video continued. Maria approached him, speaking rapidly in accented English. "Please, sir, insurance, your name, we can resolve, please." "My truck, it is my life. My children," he made a lazy shooing motion with the hand not holding the phone. Asterisk, "You reversed into me," he said on the video. "Don't start crying, scam." "Not my fault you run your little business out of a death trap." He laughed. Real, audible, delighted laughter. In the courtroom, Maria covered her mouth. On screen, he turned to leave. The last thing the camera caught was the G Wagon pulling away, its taillights disappearing into the night, leaving Maria alone in the lot with her ruined truck and scattered supplies. The video ended. The screen went black for a full 5 seconds. No one moved or spoke. Then Judge Judy reached for a second sheet of paper. "Mr. Vale," she said evenly, "you recognize this handle? At Hunter's Philosophical?" He swallowed. "Yes, asterisk. Your live stream from that night was downloaded by multiple viewers before you deleted it," she continued. "We have the full version? For the record, I'll read a few of the on-screen comments you responded to." She adjusted her glasses. "OMIO, you wrecked that taco lady," she read. "You responded, and I quote, she'll be fine. She probably made more tonight than the last month thanks to my stream." Another comment, "Bro, she's crying." Your reply, "Free content, chat." "You're welcome." Asterisk, she set the paper down with a quiet finality. So, she said, voice like ice, when you told this court you were stationary and she backed into you, that was a lie. Hunter's throat worked. Yes, Your Honor. And when you implied she exaggerated the damage for clout, that was also a lie? He nodded, eyes fixed on the table. Yes, Your Honor, under oath. Yes, Your Honor. There it was, perjury, clear and simple, but Judge Judy wasn't done dismantling him. Bailiff, she said. Play exhibit, see Hunter's head jerked up. Exhibit? The monitor blinked back to life. This time, it wasn't dashcam footage. It was a screen recording of a group chat labeled Havoc Squad. His friends' names and little profile pictures lined the side. The chat log scrolled by. Hunter, about to be on Judge Judy LL. Luke, no way bro, malcontent king Hunter. Gonna fake cry so hard. Old lady judge will eat it up, Hunter. Watch me flip it on the taco NPC. Y'all know I can sell anything. The last line hung on the screen, glowing dot in the courtroom. Hunter watched his own words expose him. Judge Judy leaned back. Almost casual. So when you walked in here today, she said, you were interested in the truth. You were interested in seeing if you could sell me the same lies you sell your audience? He didn't answer. Look at me. Mr. Vale. Slowly, like his neck weighed 100 pounds. He raised his eyes. What part of any of that looked like an accident to you? She asked quietly. The speeding, the live streaming, the mocking, the leaving. Which part says decent human being to you? His facade cracked dot, just a hairline fracture. But it was there, Your Honor. I got carried away, he stammered. It's like a character. It's just jokes online. That's not who I really am. Maria's soft voice floated across the space. Then why did the real you not help me? She asked. Every head in the room turned toward her. You laughed, she continued, eyes shining. You watched me cry. My whole life was broken and you said it was content. That was not a character. That was you. Hunter couldn't look at her. Judge. Judy tapped her pen twice. Mr. Vale, she said, I'm going to make this very simple. Sit down, be quiet, and listen very carefully, because in about 2 minutes, I'm going to decide exactly how expensive this little character of yours is going to be. The tension in the room was a living thing. Hunter sank into his chair, shoulders slumped. The swagger, the smirk, the casual flippancy, it had all evaporated. Stripped away by his own words and videos, Judge Judy shuffled the papers in front of her, then set them down with deliberate care. Here is what we have, Mr. Vale, she said, her voice crisp. Video evidence showing you driving recklessly and crashing into Ms. Alvarez's food truck. Audio of you mocking her. Proof you left without providing proper information. A falsified insurance report blaming her. And a group chat where you brag about lying in this courtroom. She fixed him with a stare that could have cut glass. There is no character here. There's behavior. Yours. Hunter's mouth opened, then shut again. Stand up, she ordered. He did, moving like someone much older, much heavier. You live at home with your father, Mr. Gregory Vale? She asked. Yes, Your Honor. Is he here today? A man in an understated dark suit, no flash, no logos, just quiet money rose from the back row. His hair was going gray at the temples. Double quotes, yes, Your Honor, he said. Gregory Vale, come forward. He obeyed, taking a position behind his son, one hand resting lightly on the back of Hunter's chair. Up close, you could see something in his eyes that didn't show up in magazine profiles. Exhaustion, regret. Mr. Vale, Judge Judy addressed the father now. In the last 5 years, your son has been involved in 4 previous incidents resulting in over $200,000 in property damage. Is that correct? He swallowed. Yes, Your Honor. And each time your lawyers made it go away. A painful pause. Double quotes. Yes, Your Honor. And how did you discipline your son after those incidents? He hesitated. We had conversations. We restricted certain privileges. But I confess, Your Honor, I relied too much on writing checks. Hunter shot him a betrayed glance. Judge Judy's tone cooled another degree. Checks don't teach character, Mr. Vale, she said. They teach exactly what your son told his group chat, that he can sell anything and someone else will clean up the mess. She turned back to Hunter. Here is my ruling. On the civil claim, I find entirely for Ms. Alvarez, you will pay, from your personal assets, the full cost of replacing her truck new not used. That's $85,000 per the estimate she provided for a comparable model with updated safety features. Hunter's jaw dropped. 85, Your Honor. I don't have that kind of liquid cash. My money's in investments. My dad, I'm not finished. Her voice sliced through his protest. You will also pay her lost income, $1,800 per week for the 3 weeks she has been unable to operate, plus an additional 6 weeks projected downtime during the period in which the new truck is being built and delivered. That's 9 weeks at $1,800, $16,200. She scribbled a number. Emotional distress for Ms. Alvarez and her family. Capped in this court at $5,000. Court costs and filing fees. $1,300. Your total obligation as of this moment. $107,500. Hunter's face went white. Judge Judy didn't blink. You will not, she said, enunciating every word, ask your father to write this check for you. You will liquidate your own assets, your car, your watches, your brand deals, your sponsorship income. If that's not enough, you will work like every other young adult in this country until the judgment is paid in full. He stared at her, shaking his head slowly. You can't tell me how to— Yes, she cut in, I can. And I just did. She flipped to another page. Now, she continued, for your behavior. Leaving the scene. Filing a false report. Mocking your victim. Lying under oath. In addition to the financial judgment, I am imposing the following non-monetary conditions. If the money had shaken him, what came next shattered him. Your driver's license is suspended for 1 year, effective immediately. You will surrender it to the bailiff before you leave this building. Hunter's mouth worked soundlessly. 1 year? He finally stammered. How am I supposed to get anywhere? I have brand shoots, events, collabs. You have legs, Mr. Vale, Judge Judy replied dryly. You will use public transportation, ride shares, bicycles, the same options, available to the people who watch your videos and pay for your lifestyle. The gallery chuckled. But it wasn't friendly. You are also sentenced, she went on, to 300 hours of community service at a food bank distribution center and the municipal cleanup program. You will show up on time every weekend for as long as it takes to complete those hours. No assistance. No filming. No monetizing your hard work for clicks. He recoiled as if she'd slapped him. 300 hours? He whispered. And lastly, she said, for 100 of those hours, you will work inside Ms. Alvarez's new truck under her supervision as an assistant. You will chop onions, wash dishes, take orders, wipe tables. You will see what actual work feels like at 1 o'clock in the morning when your back hurts and you still have 10 customers in line. Maria's eyes widened in shock. Hunter's widened in horror. Asterisk. You're making me, a taco truck worker? He said, voice cracking. I'm giving you an opportunity to understand the life you laughed at, Judge Judy said evenly. What you do with that opportunity is up to you. He gripped the table, knuckles white. My followers are going to destroy me, he muttered. Your followers, she replied, are not my concern. Your character is. And right now, it's bankrupt. She wasn't finished. Since you seem to live online, we're going to address that as well. Within 7 days, you will post a video on all your platforms: TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, explaining exactly what you did, showing this judgment, and apologizing directly to Ms. Alvarez. The video must remain pinned to the top of your profiles for a minimum of 1 year. Comments must remain on. His eyes filled with something close to panic. That's career suicide, he whispered. Brands will drop me. People will cancel me. You're ruining. No, she said sharply. You ruin this. I'm simply making sure you can't hide from it. He tried one last move. I want my father's lawyers, he said, voice shaking. I want to appeal. This is crazy. This is Mr. Vale, she interrupted. This is small claims court with a mediated binding agreement you already signed when you walked in. There is no appeal. He turned to his father, desperate. Dad, say something. You can't let her do this to me. My image, my brand. Gregory Vale looked at his son for a long moment. Then he turned to Judge Judy *. Your Honor, he said quietly, for what it's worth, I agree with your sentence. Hunter recoiled as if stabbed. What? He choked. Dad, I have been paying off problems instead of raising my son, Gregory said, voice raw but steady. I let him believe money insulated him from consequences. That ends today. I won't interfere. In fact, I'll make sure he completes every hour of that. Service. The betrayal in Hunter's eyes was almost painful to watch. You were supposed to protect me, he whispered. I was supposed to teach you how not to become this, his father replied quietly. I failed. Judge Shinlin is giving you a chance. I didn't. Silence. Judge Judy let the moment sit. Then she addressed Maria. Ms. Alvarez, do you have anything you wish to say before I close this case? Maria stood slowly. Her hands were still shaking, but her voice was clear. Your Honor, she said, I don't want to destroy this young man's life. I just want my work back. My dignity. I want him to understand that my truck is not a joke. It feeds my family. It feeds other families too. If he learns that, if he really learns that, then maybe something good can come from this. The humility in her words cut through the room. Like a beam of light, Hunter looked at her, really looked at her for the first time. Something in his expression shifted. Not enough to call it redemption, but enough to call it a crack. Judge. Judy's final words hit harder than any dollar amount. Mr. Vale, she said. Ms. Alvarez just showed you more grace than you've ever shown anyone in your life. You walked in here with 3 million followers and 0 empathy. You're leaving with a judgment, a suspended license, and onion duties in a taco truck. Whether you also leave with a conscience? She shrugged. That's up to you. Court is adjourned. Her gavel came down with a sharp crack that sounded, to Hunter, like the sound of his old life shattering. The clip of Hunter's shocked face as Judge Judy laid down his sentence hit the internet before he even got home. Someone in the gallery had streamed the entire thing. Another had ripped the official broadcast. Edits, memes, duets, breakdowns within 24 hours. Taco Truck Trial. Had 60 million views across platforms. Brands began quietly pulling his sponsorships. A luxury watch company reevaluated its partnerships. A streetwear brand removed his promo codes. His DMs, once filled with collaboration offers and influencer invites, turned into a flood of anger, mockery, and strangely advice. Take the L and learn. Don't disappear. Own it. Go work that truck. 3 days after the verdict, Hunter posted the required apology video. For the first time, there were no neon graphics, no hype music, no jump cuts. Just him sitting on his unmade bed, phone propped on a stack of books. Eyes red-rimmed from nights of no sleep. "My name is Hunter Vale," he began, voice subdued. "And I did the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life." He laid it all out, the crash, the mocking, the lies. He played a snippet of the dashcam footage, wincing at his own laughter. He read comments from people who had grown up in families like Maria's. "I thought being rich meant I didn't have to care," he admitted. "I thought I was better. Judge Judy showed me I'm not just wrong, I'm dangerous if I keep thinking like that. I'm sorry, Maria. I'm sorry. Aina, I'm sorry to everyone who saw themselves in you and saw monster in me. He didn't beg for forgiveness. He just promised to show up and do the hours. The video exploded. Some people called it performative. Some said it was too late. Others said, let's see what he does next. What he did next was show up at 6 a.m. on a cold Tuesday in April at a nearly empty warehouse on the edge of the city. The sign on the chain-link fence read, Community Food Distribution Center. For the first time in his life, no one cared who he was. They cared how many boxes he could move in an hour. The first day broke him. The second day didn't feel any better. By the third weekend, something shifted. He stopped counting hours and started counting faces, the tired single moms picking up boxes, the older men on disability, the kids too young to understand why their parents were in this line between shifts. Hunter took the bus. It was awkward at first. He caught a few double takes. Some people recognized him from the viral clip and whispered. Once, a teenager walked up, stared for a long moment, then said quietly, "Don't screw this up. People are watching." Then came the Friday he'd been dreading, his first night, working on Maria's new truck. He almost turned around twice on the walk from the bus stop. The truck looked different now. New, shiny, with her logo professionally painted, but still undeniably hers. The same colors. The same warm light spilling from the open window. Maria stood by the service hatch, arms crossed. Face unreadable. "You're late," she said. The bus. Customers don't care about your bus," she cut in. "Put on an apron. Wash your hands. Hairnet. Let's go." He followed orders. The first hour was clumsy chaos. He fumbled with tortillas, burned his fingers on a hot pan, got an avalanche of cilantro in his eyes and had to blink through the burn. By midnight, his back felt like someone had driven a rod of iron down his spine every time he dropped something or moved too slowly. Maria's quiet voice would cut through the sizzle of the grill. Again, faster, don't waste food. That's money. At 1:30 a.m., when the last drunk concert-goer stumbled away with a foil-wrapped burrito, Hunter slumped against the counter, sweat plastering his hair to his forehead. "I don't know how you do this every night," he muttered. Maria wiped down the grill. "Because I have to," she said simply. "You did this 5 nights. I did this 15 years. He looked at her, really looked at her for once. He didn't have a comeback. Weeks blurred into months. He worked the warehouse in the mornings, the cleanup crews on weekends, the taco truck whenever Maria scheduled him. He took accounting advice from her, of all people, when trying to figure out how to sell his car and a few luxury items without tanking his credit. When the last piece of his jewelry sold and he made the final transfer, $107,500. Confirmation number burned into his brain. He felt something he'd never expected to associate with losing money. Relief. He paid his debt, but his sentence wasn't just about checks. It was about change. Somewhere around hour 220 of community service. He realized he wasn't performing anymore. He was showing up. Once, on a slow night, Aina sat on the truck's back step, textbooks open, studying between orders. Hunter asked what she was working on. "Organic chemistry," she said, rolling her eyes. I want to be a nurse anesthetist. He whistled. Smart stuff. Expensive stuff, she replied. But I'll get there. One taco at a time. Her casual confidence hit him harder than any lecture. One taco at a time, one box at a time, 1 hour at a time. His audience watched. It happened, not because he made big, flashy redemption arc videos, but because small moments slipped through the cracks. Someone snapped a photo of him carrying boxes at the food bank. Another caught him wiping tables at the truck, face streaked with grease and sweat. Threads popped up. Anyone else notice Hunter actually doing the work? Okay, but he's still a rich kid playing poor, right? He sold the G Wagon dudes. Bros on the bus. Opinions stayed divided, but the one group that slowly, cautiously came around were the people in Maria's community. The stadium security guard, who testified against him, started nodding at him. Keisha, the nurse whose dash cam had exposed him, brought donuts to the truck on one of his shifts for fuel. An older man who'd once cursed him out in line handed him a tip with a gruff, "For the kid. He's learning." 6 months after the verdict, a local reporter did a follow-up story. The headline read, "From viral villain to taco truck trainee, is this influencer actually changing?" The answer, according to Maria, was complicated. He can never undo what he did, she told the camera, standing in front of her gleaming new truck. But every night he shows up, every time he wipes a table or serves a taco right, he pays a little more of a different kind of debt. The piece ended with a shot of Hunter handing a burrito to a kid in a soccer jersey, smiling not for the camera, but for the kid. The Judge Judy episode became a case study in media ethics classes and social psych courses. Clips of her telling him, "You walked in with 3 million followers and 0 empathy," were played on loop at conferences. But the moment that people reshared the most wasn't the takedown. It was a quieter one. A year after the trial, Hunter posted a video not required by any court that he shot on his phone at the end of a long shift. He stood outside Maria's truck. The lot was empty. The sky was just starting to lighten with dawn. "I used to think being rich made me the main character," he said. "Everyone else was an NPC background for my story. Judge Judy, Maria. They showed me I was the one living in a fake world. Real life is this: work, people, community. I don't deserve forgiveness, but I want to earn trust." Then he did something his old self never would have even considered. He announced a new project, not a merch line, not a brand collab. Fund, the Kikina Fund, named after Maria's truck, dedicated to helping street food vendors repair or replace damaged equipment without being crushed by debt. He pledged a percentage of every future sponsorship to it. His father matched the first year's contributions. Maria agreed to sit on the board. Within 12 months, they'd helped 6 vendors across 3 cities get back on the road. The internet did what it always does, argued. Redemption arc complete. Once a jerk, always a jerk. People can grow. Isn't that the point? Judge Judy never publicly weighed in. She didn't need to. Her words from that day were enough. "Clout is not character," she'd said. "You can buy followers. You cannot buy decency. That you have to earn one choice at a time. If the story hit you, if you believe real justice isn't just about punishment, but about forcing people to finally grow up, share this video with someone who thinks money is a shield. Like, comment, and subscribe for more stories where arrogance meets a judge who doesn't care about your follower count, and where the people who were laughed at get the last word.